Good morning, everybody. This is Sean Copeland. Today is Saturday, February the 3rd, 2 days before my dad's birthday, and welcome to another brand new, life-changing edition of the 94X Kingdom-Driven CEO. Today on the Kingdom-Driven CEO, we are going to talk about the power of influence. And let me tell you where this all came from. It was very, very cool. I had lunch yesterday with a good friend of mine by the name of Clay Slayton, one of the greatest guys that I know. And Clay opened the lunch by telling me about this wild story about his father, Gene. Gene had coached in Chinle, Arizona, a very small community on an Indian reservation in kind of northern Arizona. He had coached there from 1965 to 1970, and 53 years later, they reach out to him and want to give him an award for all of the ways that he impacted their community and their school, okay? And when they were there, he said that they had gone into a cafe to grab something to eat, and the waitress came up to their table, and somehow they ended up sharing names. He told the waitress what his name was, Gene Slayton, and the waitress starts going on and on and on about the impact that this man had had on her husband, and how her husband would talk about him constantly. And Gene Slayton didn't even think that this husband actually played basketball for him. He couldn't actually even remember the husband, but here's what the young lady said. She said, my husband said that you taught them that there was life beyond the poverty on this reservation, that there were bigger and better things out there. And in fact, later on, they had gone to... They mentioned that they were going to this canyon that's real beautiful, I guess, there in the area. And while they were there, the husband found them, literally tracked them down, came and found them, and he said spent an hour telling Gene Slayton about the impact that he had had on his life. It sounded like one of his players who he had really impacted in a positive way became a very big deal in the Native American government, and ended up securing $800 million in financing for the community. So they got brand new facilities. Another one of the players went on to get his doctorate. But it was just remarkable what had happened in these individuals' lives, all because of Gene Slayton. And all because Gene Slayton was a basketball coach there 23 years ago and taught them that they could be something greater than they thought that they could be. In the tapestry of life, our influence on others weaves a profound impact. Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Our actions and words echo beyond the moment, shaping the narratives of those around us. Scripture reminds us of this as well. In Proverbs 27:17, it says, iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. Our interactions have the power to uplift and refine. Just as a pebble creates ripples in a pond, our influence extends far beyond what we may perceive. Let's think about the wisdom of Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. Our influence begins within, and it radiates outward. Whether in moments of kindness or challenges, our responses shape the atmosphere that we share with others. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. We want to embrace the qualities that make us unique. Our authenticity has the potential to inspire others to forge their own paths. Consider the profound impact of Nelson Mandela, who once said, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. Our influence is not just about personal growth, but also about igniting the spark within others to shine brightly. Let's also remember the words of Margaret Mead, who said that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Your influence, no matter how seemingly small, has the power to create ripples of positive change. We have to embrace our role as a catalyst for inspiration and transformation in the lives of those around us. You know, one of my friends shared with me that he recently went to the funeral of his father, and he had gone back to the assisted living center where his father passed away, and they told him that he would always go to a Starbucks across the street. So he went over there to talk with the staff and see what they knew about his dad and what this was all about. Why did he always go over there? And they said that every day at 3 p.m., he would come across the street, get a drip coffee and a blueberry muffin, visit with them a little bit, and then head back over to the assisted living center. And every day when he would come in, the staff really began to fall in love with him. And so they started writing him notes, and they would always save him a muffin. They said he didn't come in for a couple of days, so they got worried about him, and they went to check on him and found out that he had passed away. Well, the son invited them to his dad's funeral, of course, and when they walked into the funeral, they saw 3 large tables filled with every note the team had ever written him. The notes changed his life. They influenced his life for the better at a time that was very, very difficult for him, and at a time when he really, really needed a friend. We have a discipleship group here in Tulsa called The Journey. I've been very blessed to lead this group for 12 or 13 years in a row, and it's always a new group of guys, and it's anywhere between, we might have 10, and this year we have 60. It just is whoever the Lord decides to bring to us in that given year. Well, last year we were going through our commencement, and it's in May, and we were all talking, and these men began to share with me the impact that the journey had had on their lives, and then how they in turn had impacted others. And they started going through this amazing kind of a family tree, if you will, where Mick Skuvanek, my partner, and I were at the top, and then we influenced them, and then they influenced others, and they were talking about the tens of thousands that they believe will be in heaven greeting us one day because they were indirectly impacted by our involvement in the ministry. I have a couple of new employees who I was visiting with recently, and this all really became very real to me when one of the employees said that she had been working for 34 years, and this was the first time that she had ever felt loved at work. And then the other employee next to her said, "Well, I can one-up you. I've been alive for over 50 years, and this is the first time in my life that I have ever felt loved, period." It's so important, the influence that we have on others. I know that life can be very difficult. I am going through a very challenging time right now professionally. But I always come back to the fact that every interaction that I have can have an eternal impact on that person. And no interactions are neutral. Every interaction is either negative or positive, and so my goal is to have literally hundreds of positive interactions every day where hopefully I can influence the person to be happier and to have a more fulfilling and hopefully more productive life. Statistically, the average person will influence 10,000 people in our lifetime. It is really amazing. So Angela and I had gone on our trip to Athens, Greece earlier last year. And it was our 25th wedding anniversary trip. I had just turned 50 years old. I was laying there and I could not sleep. And I got up and I began to pray, and I had a conversation with God. And I said, God, I am at best halfway through my life. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm very busy, too busy. How can I have the greatest impact with my life? And he basically told me, you just need to focus on the next one. You just need to focus on the next person. Stop trying to think about the big thoughts and how to speak to millions, or, how 94X is going to change the whole world, which I pray that it does, by the way. But he said, just focus on the next one. Mother Teresa said, I do not agree with the big way of doing things. To us, what matters is an individual. I never wanted to be famous. I just took care of the next child. There is a Greek proverb that says, society is changed when we plant trees under whose shade we will never sit. And I've seen so many examples of selfless people influencing others. Dr. Jim Halligan helped me find my first career, helped me get my first internship when he was the president of OSU, and I was nobody. He changed my life. Isaiah Jarvis changed the life of 150 million people when he went out on the Little League field and hugged a pitcher who had just hit him with a pitch and could not stop crying. This was in the Little League World Series, and it became famous and went viral all over the world, and 150 million people have seen it. There is a story about a shepherd in West Texas, and not like David, but shepherds today have great technology, and he was out tending a very, very large flock of sheep, 2,000 sheep. And everything was great. It was a beautiful day, and as the sun began to come down, he began to hear coyotes and wolves and predators in the distance. And so he made a bonfire in the middle of that field so that all the sheep could come up around the bonfire and be protected, and he could help protect them from the predators. As he looked out into the darkness, what he saw was 4,000 eyes, the eyes of the 2,000 sheep, looking back at him. They were not looking out at the predator. They weren't looking at the danger. They were looking to the leader. All of us are a leader to someone. Okay, you don't have to be the CEO of a large organization. In fact, some days I wish I wasn't. But you are a leader within your family. You are a leader within your Sunday school class. You're a leader within your church. You're a leader within your schoolroom. You are a leader within your department, within your organization. You are a leader to someone. They are looking to you for guidance, and we have the power to influence them for Jesus if we will just focus on that. I want to close with my favorite poem. I don't share it very often, but I think it's very appropriate for this topic. It's called God Won't Ask. God won't ask the square footage of your house, but he'll ask how many people you welcomed into your home. God won't ask about the clothes you had in your closet, but he'll ask how many people you helped to clothe. God won't ask what your highest salary was, but he'll ask if you compromised your character to obtain it. God won't ask what your job title was, but he'll ask if you performed your job to the best of your ability. God won't ask how many friends you had, but he'll ask to how many people you were a friend. God won't ask in what neighborhood you live, but he'll ask how you treated your neighbors. God won't ask about the color of your skin, but he'll ask about the content of your character. I know life can be tough, but the two most important and lasting things we can do in this life is to accept Jesus Christ as our personal Savior and impact others to do the same. And the way to do that is through a life of influence, where we are present, where we focus on others, and where we try to make their lives better one step at a time. So thank you so much for joining today's 94X Kingdom Driven CEO.